Out of nowhere, a grizzly bear got on top of me, put his huge paws on my chest, and right before it was gonna bite my face, I quickly put my arm out and stuck it right between his jaws. So please stay tuned for this shocking story. For months, my best friend Skylar had been contacting me to go hiking with him. Me and Skylar both turned 22 2 weeks ago, and what was better than a camping trip in the mountains of Alberta, Canada? Skylar had been asking me for 2 years now, let's go camping, let's go camping. And no matter how many times I told my mom, she kept saying no. So I begged and I begged over and over again, telling her, Mom, I'm 22. Let me be. I'm not a kid anymore. My mother kept saying the journey would be dangerous. You could get attacked by a wolf, a bear, or any wild animal with huge fangs and bone-crushing jaws. So I had to be strategic. One day, I told Skylar, let's go to coffee and come up with a mastermind plan. We talked and talked, and at the end, while sipping our hot coffee, we decided that the only way my mother was going to get convinced was if we had the proper camping gear and defense weapons to protect ourselves from any wild animal. So the next day, we go to the nearest camping store, buy bear spray, a huge fishing knife, a top-of-the-line camping tent, and many other tools to make sure we were safe and about in the wilderness. The same day, I told Skylar, meet me at my house at 7 at night. That's when my mother was going to be home from work, and it's the perfect opportunity to look straight into her eyes and convince her about our camping trip. As my mother entered our home, she saw Skylar and I sitting at the dining room table with each and every camping gear that we bought laid out right on the table. Oh my God, what are these two up to? Me and Skylar are serious. I looked at her with piercing eyes and a straight face. Look, we bought everything needed to be successful on our 3-day camping trip. You don't need to worry. We promise you, you don't need to worry. Skylar then got up from his chair. Let's not forget the fact that I was a CIF wrestler in high school, and I won 2 tournaments. So if anything attacks us, I'm gonna stand my own ground, and also I'm gonna take care of your son. My mom was angry. No matter what she would do and how she would convince us, she knew and her son's best friend were not gonna give up. It was like they were on a mission to go on this camping trip. With anger, she got up from her chair, walked to her bedroom, and after 5 minutes, marched out to the dining room table. You guys aren't gonna give up, are you? I'm gonna say yes. And just know, if anything happens, pray to the man in the sky for help. And that's when me and Skylar shouted, yes!
Yeah,
We gave
boy.
a high five to each other and hugged. At that point, Skylar pulled out his phone, but if anything happens,
May
just
the
know
18th.
I told you so. Let's do it, Skylar, I replied. So 2 weeks later, we got in his huge SUV with all the camping gear and headed towards the mountain. The first day, we hiked through the mountains for 4 long hours. I was sweating, and my huge camping backpack, even though it only weighed 20 pounds, it started to feel like it was 300 pounds. I looked at Skylar. Man, we are not built for this. And he laughed, both of us sweating so much, like someone poured a bucket of water over us. By now, it was getting dark, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was starting to get scared. So we brought out our equipment, set up our huge tent, and started a barbecue, making 2 huge tomahawk steaks. It started to smoke like crazy. Skylar looked at me with a sketchy face. Hey, if there's any animals here, they might come for us for our food. So let's eat quickly and go to bed, okay? I reassured him in an arrogant manner. Skylar, don't worry. Didn't you say you were a wrestler? He laughed, but we quickly ate our food, put out the fire, and went straight to bed in our huge tent. That night, for some reason, I was up till 3 in the morning. You could feel it. Something wasn't right. I would twist and churn, and no matter what I did, I just felt like something bad was gonna happen. I began dreaming that me and Skylar were walking in the beautiful mountains. It was sunny, the birds were chirping, and we were in paradise. And then out of nowhere, a 9-foot grizzly bear creeps up from behind Skylar, grabs him, and as he's yelling for his life, grabs his hand, creeps up behind Skylar, bites his arm, and as he's yelling for his life, drags him into the dark forest, and that was the last time I'll ever see him again. And boom, I woke up from my nightmare. Skylar, are you there? I was reaching all over the tent, and finally, about 2 seconds, I touched him. What do you want? What do you want? Nothing. Just making sure you're here. The next morning, at around 9:30, we woke up, chewed on some crackers for breakfast, and began our hiking trip. 30 minutes into walking, I asked Skylar a simple question. Don't you think it's smart to have the bear spray in our pocket and the fishing knife just in case any animals attack us? He said, good idea. We put our backpacks down, pulled out the 2 items, and within 30 seconds, a small, tiny bear cub was visible to us about 20 meters ahead. It literally came out of the bushes and started making odd noise. Hi, hi. You could tell it had lost its mother. Maybe we should go help it. And that's when Skylar slapped me in the arm. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? We should run away. What if its mom is here? What if she attacks us? In every survival guide that I've read, it says do not go near them. Should we go the other way? We were both nervous and shaky. Remember, it was our first camping trip, and that's when all hell broke loose. Before I could even turn around, I hear Skylar screaming to the top of his lungs. And then, from a distance, I heard the sound of terror. Skylar, what was that? What was that? You could hear it slowly getting closer and closer. And that's when all hell broke loose. Before I could even look at Skylar, he yelled to the top of his lungs, and when I turned around, the bear went full psychopath. The bear looked scarier than the villains in movies. Imagine a fierce bear standing 9 feet tall with horrific claws about 5 inches long, looking literally like sharp knives, and a face more than 1 foot wide. It was like a nightmare. Skylar was yelling for help as the bear had him pinned to the ground and kept stomping on his chest. Skylar was shaking like a rag doll, and you could see the fear in Skylar's eyes. It was literally do or die for him. Thankfully, he was athletic. Not only was he a wrestler in high school and college, but he had also studied jiu-jitsu. And after about 7-8 seconds, he quickly turned on his stomach, and instead of the huge grizzly bear pouncing on his chest, it began to pounce on his big backpack, over and over again pouncing, trying to rip his backpack into pieces, biting it with its 2.5-inch fangs and ripping it apart with his huge 5-inch claws. Like a hammer, he kept smashing and smashing it, trying to rip it apart, and pieces went flying everywhere. It was equivalent to a human being ripping up paper. At that moment, I literally froze. What do I do? What do I do? I asked myself, do I go to punch the bear? Well, that's not gonna do anything. I'm just a weak human. Do I grab my fishing knife? That's just gonna make the bear attack me. Do I grab the peppers? Do I grab the bear spray? What do I do? But I couldn't think. I even thought about running away, but I knew it wasn't an option. Skylar was my best friend since childhood. For a second, I put my head down and got on my knees. Mr. Man in the sky, and I prayed for help. I need you, and I know I haven't been close to you for all these years, but I need a miracle. It was funny, when I was doing the prayer, I couldn't even hear Skylar's screams. All of a sudden, an idea popped inside my head. Let me just get the bear spray. I quickly pulled it out, took the lid off, and slowly started walking towards the bear, spraying it straight in the eye. You could see the bear was getting extremely angry. I just yelled to Skylar, keep your exposure, I'm gonna continue spraying. 4th spray, 5th spray, 6th spray, and by the 7th spray, all of a sudden, I heard the loudest rifle shot I've ever heard in my life. I slowly turned to my right and saw that 3 hunters fired their rifles straight into the air. It had startled the grizzly, and when the grizzly had realized, its eyes were extremely irritated and burning with pain, it got off Skylar, walked a yard away, turned to his left, gave Skylar a dirty look, and ran off into the forest. The 3 men ran up to us. Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay? But Skylar was not okay. His face was all scratched up, and he yelled, I think my leg is broken. I think my leg is broken. So the men used their radio phone, called for backup, and within 45 minutes, a rescue helicopter had lifted Skylar into the sky and to the nearest hospital. Thankfully, 2 days later, when I went to visit Skylar, the doctor had told me that his ankle was fractured and that he would need to wear a huge cast all the way to his knee. I then woke up Skylar from the hospital bed, and instantly when he saw me, he started crying and hugged me. He had told me that something happened that day. Some outside force had not only saved us, but convinced the fierce and angry bear that this wasn't his fight and to run away. Please comment below on what you think about this story, what you think about people going into the dangerous wilderness with fierce animals, and also what you think really saved Skylar's life on that very long and scary day. And please, if you want to hear more stories just like this, click on the videos right above the screen.